Morning, everyone. It's Rodney Rissanen. Welcome to another episode of Rodney's Life Lessons. Today, I'm going to talk about pharmaceuticals and my personal experience and how I got off of 16 prescribed pharmaceuticals every day. Firstly, I am an amputee, missing my right arm from a motorcycle accident in 1986 at the age of 19. Give a little bit of history about myself. I grew up watching my mom abuse pills, pharmaceuticals. There was more than once when she was found unconscious on the floor, and there was even times that if it had been another day, her liver would have failed and she would have died. So I grew up living with witnessing pharmaceutical abuse. And I literally had the mindset as I grew up, like, is there a pill for whatever ails me? And yet my father, he didn't take anything, never even took an aspirin. So at the age of 19, I had my motorcycle accident, which is how I lost my right arm. And that really began the pharmaceutical journey for me. There's a thing called phantom limb pain. Like, I didn't lose the arm, it was completely disfigured, and I had it amputated 6 years later because it just dangled and it was completely not usable. It's called a brachial plexus injury, where the nerves are ripped completely out of the spinal cord. It's like pulling a tree out by the roots. The arm just dangled, and it would get in the way, and it was problematic, so I had them amputated. And then I got a prosthetic, which never really worked well, and so I've been that way since 1992. And so my father is a diabetic, and my mother had high blood pressure. And I discovered early in life that I too had high blood pressure. So that was pills that I started, was high blood pressure early in life. And I also was tested, and they said, well, you have high cholesterol. So then they put me on statins, which was another pill. And then I started struggling with with phantom limb pain, and it is very hard to treat. They can do brain surgery and heart transplant, but nerve pain is very, very hard to treat. And I tried so many different things. Acupuncture, a thing called trigger point injection, where they have a needle and it has a small current hooked up to it, and they poke into the nerve sheath that goes to the hand, and then they inject freezing. And it actually did take away the pain in the arm, and the idea behind that is when the freezing wears off, the pain will be less. Well, that was never the case. The pain always came back just as strongly. And one time the doctor missed a little bit and kind of froze the top of my lung area, and I couldn't breathe deeply for hours and hours and hours. So, tried acupuncture, trigger point injection. There's a cloth called Ferroblock, which has small metal fibers sewn into it, and it's supposed to stop the cosmic rays that travel through the ether. Tried that. I tried very, very many things, everything that I could try, really. And I even approached a surgeon, and I said, can you surgically? He says, well, what we can do is we can open up your spinal cord at your neck at the point of the injury, and we can then cauterize part of your spinal cord. And the problem with that is, one, there's a 10% chance of complications, and two, if they don't go far enough one way, if they go too far one way, they'll start to freeze the use of my left arm. If they go too far the other way, they'll start freeze and disable the use of my right leg. And if they don't go far enough, then they won't address the pain, and there's a high chance of the pain coming back after a number of years. So even though you've had spinal cord surgery where they cauterize part of your spinal cord, there is a chance that the pain will come back, and there's a 10% chance that you will have complications. So obviously that wasn't going to fly with me. So there was pharmaceuticals. And again, my upbringing, I had no problem taking pharmaceuticals. So I was taking already pharmaceuticals, and also I was taking antidepressants. So I was on high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and antidepressants already. And some of these pills you had to take multiple times a day. And then I got on to trying to combat the phantom limb pain using pharmaceuticals. And strong stuff. Many of these pills, I would have to take 2 or 3 other pills to counteract the side effects of the main pill for the phantom limb pain. And I had to take these every 4 hours. So at one point I was taking 16 pills a day, every single day. And I did this, and I was working in busy cash handling environments, and I was really like, you feel those sort of medication, and slurring your words and staggering even, and you don't care because the pain is so excruciating. But it got to a point where I did that for months and months, half a year, 3/4 of a year, and you feel poisoned. I could literally feel my body being poisoned by all of this pharmaceutical chemical shitstorm that I was taking every 4 hours. So I made it a point to learn about the ailments that were beseeching me and how to treat these naturally, so I could get off of the 16 pills a day avalanche of medication. And so antidepressants, how did I get off of those? Well, I learned that if I leave shitty relationships and shitty jobs, then that is 3/4 of the issue right there. When you feel good about yourself, you don't have somebody that's constantly fighting with, or a boss that just doesn't click. You're not so stressed out. I weaned myself off antidepressants when I lived in America, 2015 to 2017. No, 2015 to 16. Because I was Canadian, and I couldn't get medication. So I weaned myself off of antidepressants, and it felt like I was taking off a wetsuit. Like all of my skin, because I'd been on these things for decades. All of my skin, like my surface of my entire body, started tingling. It's like the nerves were coming back. I was able to feel again. So antidepressants, and one of the side effects, the first side effect they list is suicidal tendencies. Like this is supposed to be helping to not feel these ways. So I weaned myself off antidepressants, and it was like, I can feel again, and it's normal to feel. It's human to feel. We can't block out reality by taking a pill. We have to face these things. We have to grow through these things, because very often, it's the body's reaction to, this is a distressing situation, you need to get out of it. And that's, and by taking a pill and staying in that distressing situation is not helping your body at all, or your mental fortitude, it's just not right. So that was how I got off antidepressants. And then high blood pressure, because I'd looked at, I'm taking all of these pills, and I looked at it like liquid handcuffs. I would have a little pill container that I would carry around with me. And I have enough pills to be out for 4 hours, and I got to go home. And I hated that, especially living in in a foreign country and not having access. So how do I get off of these? How do I get off of all of the pharmaceuticals that I'm on? So then I looked into high blood pressure. I started doing research into that. And obviously things like table salt and stress and stuff, they cause it. And excess amounts of coffee and alcohol, and they cause it. So right away, I cut back on those things. And my blood pressure was still high. So I looked into it more. I looked into naturopathic ways, like food remedies. And I discovered that, so buy a juicer, get a good quality one, a big enough one that you can stick an actual apple down instead of, having to cut everything in fourths. And so I discovered that using celery through a juicer will lower your systolic and diastolic 10 points either side. So I tried that, and wow, it really does work. Like, once a day, you juice up, 5-6 stalks of celery, and you drink it, and your systolic and diastolic is lowered. That wasn't quite enough for me, though. My blood pressure was still on the higher side. So I did more research, and I discovered that if you juice a couple carrots, a full-size beet, and a full-size apple, it will lower your systolic and diastolic 20 plus points either side. So I did that, and wow, my blood pressure is now under control. So I was able to get off of the high blood pressure medicine. So I was able to go on antidepressants by leaving poor situations that were bad for my mental health. I was able to get off high blood pressure medicine by juicing carrot, beet, and apple. And then I looked up high cholesterol, and I realized, after research, that statins that they prescribe to you is horrifyingly bad to your body. So what are high cholesterol foods? Like cheeses and stuff. So I cut those out of my diet, or greatly reduced those from my diet. And I was able to get off of high cholesterol medicine. So I got off high blood pressure, antidepressants, and high cholesterol medicine. And then I was faced with the shitstorm of medicine for my phantom limb pain. And there was quite a few, and they were really strong ones. And so I got books on phantom limb pain and what triggers phantom limb pain. And stress is one of those things that you have to really stay away from. And I found that if I change my diet, I can literally get off of, one of the main things to get off of is sugar. And the reason is when you consume sugar, and that is our first addiction, by the way, it lights up your brain in the same way that heroin does. It really is a powerful, powerful addiction. But we can, with willpower, people, we can get off of all of these things. You are stronger than in a physical addiction to anything. Cigarettes or sugar or cheese is another one that lights up your brain like that too. So sugar, for your body to process one molecule of sugar requires 27 molecules of magnesium. When you look at processed sugar, like glucose and corn syrup and all of these things, it requires 57 molecules of magnesium to process. So 90% of the population is magnesium deficient. And this causes all sorts of issues, including phantom limb pain. So if you are an amputee, or if you know anybody that is an amputee and they struggle with phantom limb pain, first thing, cut out all sugar. And I mean, consider yourself a diabetic. Just all sugar. I have a sweet tooth. Well, when I take sugar accidentally, it feels like somebody's got a sledgehammer and they're beating on my right arm, on my stump. It's excruciating. It's almost beyond, I am completely white. I'm not even 60 years old. That is because of the pain that I've lived through. So if I can reduce that pain in any way, I do. I've cut out all sugar. There's some times when, I'll treat myself to, a Starbucks peppermint latte, but I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it. It's like, man, my arm is killing me right now. But there's nothing. So, because of the deficiency of magnesium, there are several ways that you can adjust those levels in your body. One of the easiest and most effective ways, and it's the pain-free environment for me. If I am hurting real bad, I jump in the bathtub and I use, 3 or 4 cups of Epsom salts, which is a magnesium sulfate. So that dissolves in the water and it absorbs through your skin, and I am literally pain-free from the phantom limb pain. I don't always do that, and that's a lot of a magnesium, and it gets expensive. So what I do now is every morning when I get up, I take a couple magnesium supplements, because even every food item we have almost has sugar in it. And so these are being stripped from my body on a daily basis. So I regulate that by taking magnesium supplements. Threonate and citrate and oxide, and there's about 10 different types. So by changing my diet, by eating healthy foods, by cutting sugar completely out of my diet, I was able to get off phantom limb medication. And that was a lot of medication. Many of those pills I'd have to take like 4 times a day. They're, Neurontin, Lyrica, gabapentin. Just heard somebody speaking, oh, I had to go on gabapentin. And go, everybody I know is on gabapentin, even my dog's on gabapentin. Well, these like, there's so many things with pills. Our body builds up a tolerance, and then they become less effective. Our body is naturally trying to fight the medication. There's a saying, it's like, when you take medication for an injury or for an illness, your body has to heal twice. Once from the injury or the disease, and once from the medication. Like, the trick is to get our body in a healthy state where it will heal itself. Our bodies are amazing things. Like, I'm a Reiki master. That's another thing that I use for pain and phantom limb pain. I had somebody do Reiki on me at one time because I was complaining about my arm pain. And the pain, I says, what the heck did you just do? And the person said, it's called Reiki. I said, I must learn this Reiki. And I was actually taught by a Navajo medicine woman, 2015, 2016, and I've since treated thousands of people. Like, literally, I can put my hand on myself and I can take the pain away within seconds. And this way I don't have to take pharmaceuticals that damage my body, my liver, my mental capacities. This, like, pharmaceuticals are deathly bad for us. Your body is capable of doing everything that those pharmaceuticals can, but it's going to require a lifestyle change. Now the thing is, your lifestyle got us, and you and me and us, into the situation we're in. It got us with the disease that we're fighting. It got us with the illness that we're feeling, the lack of energy. So why wouldn't we want to make every effort to change that? And people will often say, oh, I could never quit sugar. I could never quit cheese. Well, people, like, you got to understand that the damage that you're doing to your body, and just by taking a pill to reverse that is it's not reversing it. You're damaging your body in a whole new way. So not only are you taking sugar or whatever, or alcohol that's really damaging to your body, now you've introduced a pharmaceutical that's altering the way your body tries to fight and to combat this thing that's really bad for you. So now your body's in this confused state as it's being genetically, like, mutated and altered with these pharmaceuticals that are only treating the symptoms. They're not treating the cause. So by changing my diet, I was able and of sugar and everything. And for God's sakes, don't smoke. Don't smoke. That constricts your blood cells and oxygen levels. And so I was able to get off of all of the pharmaceuticals for my phantom limb pain. So I went from taking 16 pills every single day to now 0. I take supplements. I take supplements, especially as a vegan, which I am. There's certain like B12 you need to take, and there are certain things that we can't get as easily as someone who is not vegan. So I take supplements, but the better way of doing that is to eat more leafy greens and to find the foods that is like B12, what apricot seeds and things like that. That's actually B17, which is the cure for cancer, but we won't go into that because we don't want this video to get removed. So this is my experience with pharmaceuticals and the life. Like, I've lived this. I was on 16 pills a day. And by getting out of shitty relationships and jobs, I was able to get off antidepressants. By cutting out certain things like table salt. I still use pink Himalayan salt, and it doesn't affect my blood pressure in a bad way, and it's full of minerals and nutrients, and it's delicious. So you don't have to completely cut out certain things that if you like salty foods, you can still do that. Just find a healthy alternative. And sea salt didn't help at all. It still affected my blood pressure. It had to be pink Himalayan. So I was able to get off antidepressants. I was able to get off high blood pressure. I was able to get off high cholesterol medicine by changing my diet. I was able to get off all these phantom limb pain medications. Like, there was a lot. I was taking a lot. Just by simply changing my diet and cutting things like sugar out of my diet. I have completely turned my health around. And you can too. It's going to require willpower, but you wake up and you ache and you hurt and you have no energy. I guarantee you that if you were to change your diet and at least become vegetarian, but see, you can't eat, like, cheese is one of those really bad things. Like, casein in cheese, it lights up your brain. It is so addictive. You want to eat more. Like, so I went vegan, and my beautiful wife is vegan, and she's been vegan since her teenage years, and there's nothing that I miss. I don't eat these hamburgers, by Bill Gates that, pretend meat and stuff. But there's nothing I miss. There's a thing that I like to say is, like, how you treat your body for the first 50 years is how your body will treat you for the second 50 years. Or you can pay now for organic food, for healthy food, or you can pay later for an unhealthy life and medical expenses by how you change your diet, by what you eat. Like, don't eat McDonald's ever again. Don't eat, processed meats. And, I know it all tastes really, really good. I haven't been vegan. I was vegan, started in my 50s. I'm only 56 now. So I've only been, 6 years. But the energy that I have, the clarity that I have, like, I can literally, if I, eat a bag of chips the night before, the next day I feel like crap. There's a thing with addicts in recovery that they get them off of sugar because, again, sugar lights up their brain like heroin does. And they say, don't eat sugar. And, like, they cut it out from their diet. They're in rehab. There's no sugar allowed. There's no sugar on the premises. And then on the weekend they say, go knock yourself out and eat as much sugar as you want. And most people do, and they end up vomiting because sugar, they wanted to label everything that has sugar in it as white death. It is that bad for us. So people that have a sweet tooth, no, you have an addiction to a food derivative, cane sugar, that is really controlling your life. Don't you want to control your life? Don't you want to be the one that determines your health instead of, reaching for a pill that just makes you feel worse? So I hope this helped in some way. A little bit longer video than normal, but I wanted to really get across what I've gone through and what's helped me. I'm 56 and I feel incredibly healthy. I'm going for 9-mile hikes and stuff with the dog. The dog is like, holy cow, man, take it easy. And this is a young, fit dog, right? It's like the energy that you will have, the mental clarity that you will have. Every part of your body will improve and your life will improve if you get off all pharmaceuticals and switch to a completely healthy lifestyle. I guarantee that. I love you guys. I hope you like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take care.